Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, we have quite a crowd in the room this morning. And good morning, everybody on Zoom. Thank you for having your cameras on so we can see your beautiful faces in here. Because if you don't know this, we see you. I have a big screen TV right here, and there's a TV on both sides of the stage as well. So it's nice for us to actually be able to see you, and we just feel closer to you when we can see your face rather than read your name. So thank you. That's just a baby hint, just a baby one. And we've got some people who are still being seated this morning. Look, it's Old Home Week. I am seeing faces I have not seen before. How exciting. So thank you again for being here. And I'd like to open our time together by sharing our mission statement. And some of you will know this. And I invite you, whether you know it or not, just to sit and listen to it. And it's something to embody, not to recite, right? So close your eyes if you'd like. We are an inclusive spiritual community where we recognize and express our oneness with our Creator and all creation. Isn't that beautiful? So now let's join together in opening song on Zoom. I can see you. I want to see your mouths moving to know you're singing along. And in the room, I can see and hear you. Let's sing out to where they can hear us on Zoom, even though, it's only through my mic. Here we go. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. One more time. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary. I hear harmony, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. A sanctuary for you. Marlene, come and take it away. Marlene, come and take it away. She's sitting in the front row looking at me, smiling and laughing. So we'll get her up here.
I thought I was singing too loud and she was making a joke. So I wasn't sure what I was doing. Anyway, good morning. I'm Marlene Milner and certainly a cheerleader for what we stand for here at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. Um, are there any first-time newcomers? Anybody for the first time today? Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. Be sure, and if you feel so inclined, to give your information to the ushers so we can get your email and all of that kind of thing. And hopefully you'll be so taken aback. We'll see you again soon. Our guest speaker today is Reverend David Goldberg. Reverend Goldberg has been serving as the minister at Unity on the Avenue in Denver for the past 2 years. He is an ordained minister with 4 earned degrees, including a bachelor's in journalism, a master's in communication, a master's in consciousness studies, and a PhD in ethical and creative leadership with a concentration in creativity, diversity, and social justice. Yeah. His area of study is the intersection of spirituality and leadership. Oh. Most certainly, David is the. Oh, stay on the mic. David is the former publisher and editor of the Science of Mind magazine, the second largest digest-sized magazine in the country. He is also a certified labyrinth facilitator. So we're going to be hearing from Reverend David in a moment, but first our wonderful prayer chaplain, Rhett Kurgis, is going to lead us in prayer.
Thank you very much, and I'm very impressed you pronounced my name right. Nobody ever does. Oh, it's a little louder? Okay. All righty. Well, it's very great seeing everyone here today. Before I go ahead and pray, I do want to just say a couple things about being a prayer chaplain. It's been a pretty amazing experience. Someone just recently asked me what my favorite part was. And it actually is a little bit selfish, but it's made my prayer life, kind of made me focus my life a little bit more around prayer and praying for the things I care about and want. It's been a great experience. So I'm very proud to be one of your prayer chaplains, and I love being able to talk to you monthly on the phone, the people I get to call. So thank you. So I'd also just like to read a quote to start, and that's, "Fight for the things that you care about. Do it in a way that leads and inspires others to join you." And that is by Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I just wanted to include that today in lieu of everything going on. So if you just close your eyes with me. Take a couple deep breaths in. Find that soft, loving, caring spot in your heart that the Spirit flows through, and hug that, hold that, reach onto that. And today I just pray for women, females, girls, and the feminine soul, for love, safety, and freedom. I pray for the future of our church. I pray for the future of the community and the future of womankind around the world. And I would like to just thank you for bringing us all together today and say thank you for all you do. And amen. Amen. God bless. Yes. I know. Oh, there it is.
Thank you, Rhett. That's the first time I have heard Rhett pray on the platform. I might have been gone other times. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. And it was making me think about Reverend David's topic today, trying to find music for it. And out of the blue, a stat came across on YouTube from Mel Robbins. I follow Mel Robbins, and she was saying at around up until age 12, boys and girls, their level of confidence and self-esteem is about the same. And when they hit 13, females' self-esteem plummets. And a lot of that is related to body image and the messages we get. And it just made me think, because I don't think there's a woman in here, and probably not a man either, who hasn't struggled. I'm too fat, too thin, too tall, too short, curly hair, straight hair. Whatever it is, you're not good enough, right? I sure wish we could look at ourselves in this way instead. I sing the body electric, I celebrate the me yet to come. I toast to my own reunion when I become one with the sun. And I look back on Venus, I'll look back on Mars, and I'll burn with the fire of 10 billion stars. And in time, we will all be stars. I sing the body electric. I glory in the glow of rebirth, creating my own tomorrow when I shall embody the earth. And I'll serenade Venus, I'll serenade Mars, and I'll burn with the fire of 10 million stars. And in time, we will all be stars. We are the emperors now, and we are the czars. But in time, yes, in time, we will all be stars. I sing the body electric. I celebrate the me yet to come. I toast to my own reunion when I become one with the sun. And I'll look back on Venus, and I'll look back on Mars, and I'll burn with the fire of 10 million stars. And in time, oh, in time, yes, in time, oh, in time, we will all be stars. Reverend David.
Beautiful work. Thank you, Connie. Extraordinary as always. And thank you, James. Brilliant work for your first day on the job. And Kayla, welcome back. And Marlene and Rhett. My friends, it does take a village. And what a joy it is to be with you in this village. Whether in person, whether our Zoomies, it is all good because we know the one power, the one presence that we choose to call God, that we choose to call Spirit, that we choose to call Buddha, that we choose to call Yahweh, whatever name, however we identify, however we relate to our higher power, it is that one power, that one presence that is in, around, and through it all. And this morning, I know that specifically for our technology. Thank you, technology gods, both in person and in the ethers. It is all good and it is extraordinarily powerful. And what a great month June is. Oh my goodness. We get to celebrate fathers in all forms, in all sources of energy. We get to celebrate Juneteenth, the emancipation of slaves in this country. We get to celebrate pride in all of its forms. So whoever you are, whatever you are celebrating, I see you, I love you, I honor you, I bless you in that experience. And if you hear nothing else that is shared today, never postpone joy. Whatever makes your heart happy, do it. Step into it, be it. Let Spirit express through you and as you, and let your light shine. So that is what I know to be true, as we alluded to earlier. It's been quite a week, yes? We have so much to celebrate, and so many people are so grateful for the events of the week. And so many people are on the opposite end of that energetic spectrum, finding themselves perhaps in sorrow, in despair. And what else we know to be true, beloveds, is everything is just energy and information until we choose to label it. So you all chose to get up this morning. You all perhaps chose to say to somebody on your way into this community, good morning. Yeah, that is a choice, you see. We could be grumpy because of the rain. As my grandmother used to say, apparently there was a comic book character named Little Joe Boofloof, and this little cloud just followed him around everywhere. We could be that, and we could jump in the puddles, and we could get wet, and we could get muddy, and we could be mad that we can't get on our kayaks. Or we can say, when I do get in my kayaks, it's going to be a blessed and glorious and perfect experience, right? So we are always at choice. We may not always like our choices, and we are always at choice. That is what comes with being spiritual beings, having a human experience, you see. We are co-creating with the divine in every moment. And so my invitation today, and thank you once again to this brilliant services team for including me. It's a joy to share the platform with you. And Reverend Elizabeth, I see that you're online. Thank you for your continued extraordinary work in high consciousness and support of this community. You are a beloved member, and I know that that will always be true. And so as I was thinking about all of the joyful moments that this month brings and everything that we get to celebrate and that we are constantly at choice, I started thinking about really that piece that we are spiritual beings having this human experience. And what does that look like? What does that look like in our human bodies? And I think Connie already saw my notes, and so I'm going to truncate my presentation because we have all been in that space of I'm too much this, I'm not enough that, I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, I'm too big, I'm too small. My friends, let it go. You are that perfect child in whom God is well pleased. You are that perfect expression of the divine. The Creator chose to create you in its magnificence, so how can you be anything less than perfect? Yes, as co-creators of our experience, we get to share that. We get to look at things, and we get to be a different kind of perfect tomorrow. And you spend the most time talking to yourself. Don't look pious at me. I know you all do it. You can admit it or not. And be gentle with yourself. If you find yourself saying something to yourself that you wouldn't say to a grandchild, that you wouldn't say to a stranger, that you wouldn't say to a new member of this beloved community, then don't say it to yourself. Because you see, we are our own human transmitters. We are perfect expressions of the divine because we are always connected. So, whatever you are tuning into, whatever you are feeding your human cells, every moment of every day, you are listening to you. So, if you get in that place of, oh, that was a brilliant move, David, erase, erase, erase. Thank you, Spirit, for this opportunity to show up differently next time, right? We know that we can change our thinking and change our lives. So how does that affect us from a human perspective, from a body perspective? Well, let us remember that in our teaching, that we know that the body isn't separate from the soul. So, however you work that, if you come from the macro to the micro, if you come from the soul to the body, or your philosophy, you are wired the other way to go from the body to the soul, it's okay. Spirit doesn't care. The key is to remember that we are one, that you are one with your own individual interpretation of the divine, whatever he or she or it or they may look like. You see, because the one power, the one presence that I choose to call God is so much larger than any name or any nomenclature or any title that I can put on it in any language. So, the good news, my friends, you're not doing anything wrong. That's another thing that I so appreciate unity in our teachings is there is no bad way to pray. There is no wrong way. As we've all heard many times, if all we ever say is thank you, it's enough. So be in that place. Don't get wound up around, I don't have the training. I don't know the Bible. I haven't read that book. I'm not an expert on the Fillmores. It's okay, right? Do what you know to do. Have your conversation with yourself. Have your conversation with your own interpretation of the divine. And spoiler alert, you don't need me. You don't need any of my colleagues in the clergy. You have a direct link to the wisdom of the universe. Call it spirit, call it God, call it anything that you'd like. And it is right there for you to tap into anytime that you choose. So this day, I want to talk about three different elements as the human being, as the spiritual being in a biodegradable flesh suit, having a human experience. What does that look like? How does that unfold for us? So many of us, if not all of us, have heard the lessons about loving ourselves and loving our bodies and being positive in all of those efforts. And what I invite you to consider is as we are that human antenna, right? As we are that organic antenna to the divine, our bodies are always communicating with us. Do we choose to listen or do we not? No, I'm so grateful, Marlene, that you read that bio exactly as I wrote it. And as someone with a degree in journalism, it's very rewarding to hear my words come out of somebody else's mouth. And what I would share with you, my friends, the only thing that 4 degrees means is I kind of know how to read. So that's a good thing, right? So our bodies are always communicating with us. What are they telling us? What are we paying attention to? What are we listening to? Or are we listening? In my grandparents' age, both of my grandfathers died of heart attacks. Their hearts were trying to tell them something. And now, oh my goodness, I had a very moving experience this past week. It's my great honor to support many families through celebrations of life and memorials and funerals, whatever terminology you prefer. And I met with this family and we were having a conversation, and they're preparing the celebration of life for their 22-year-old daughter. And this young woman, also a perfect expression of the divine, had some real challenges before she chose to leave the planet. And that was the family lived in the mountains, and this young woman was not happy in her physical body, and she tried on 3 separate occasions to throw herself off of their patio, off of their balcony deck. And the 3rd time, it was the most severe, and she was in the hospital for 9 months in a paper gown because they didn't want her to have anything to harm herself, with 24-hour surveillance because they needed to keep that set of eyes on her at all times. And it was during that 9-month hospital stay when the lead doctor came to the parents and said, you know what? We know she was diagnosed with schizophrenia when she was 16, But we're sorry, it's not schizophrenia. She has epilepsy, and she's been dealing with undiagnosed epileptic seizures. Now, 16 when she was first diagnosed with a mental illness. 6 years later, she's struggling mightily in her human body, and she gets re-diagnosed, changing her primary diagnosis from a mental illness to a physical illness. And mom and dad were so sure all the way along that while their daughter may have had some mental health issues, there had to be something else going on because they knew their daughters. Any of you who are parents know that. You know your kids better than they know themselves. The parents knew that she needed more help. She needed more tests. She needed a different kind of diagnosis. So I invite you, my friends, this week to consider, where is your body communicating with you that you aren't listening? What do you know that you're not paying attention to? Perhaps it's a simple fix. Perhaps it's something a bit longer term that you can listen to and listen for. As Marlene shared, in one of my past lives, I was a publisher and ran the publishing department for Centers for Spiritual Living, which meant not just the magazine, but all of our book imprints and all of our book titles as well. And I created a partner publishing effort. So you came to us with an original manuscript and a credit card, and we would publish your book. And the first book we published under our new imprint was Using the Cosmic 2x4 to Hit a Home Run. So again, I invite you to consider, what has been knocking at your door? What do you hear 2 or 3 or 4 times? For me, when something appears 3 times, I choose to pay attention to it. And I either get to consciously say, this is not mine to do or be in this moment, or I get to say, how can I engage with this? Because you know what? I'm getting up there a bit, and I would prefer no more cosmic 2x4s, right? So the universe is going to get our attention one way or another. I don't know about you, but I have had getting out there a ways from high school reunions. There are some people who, it appears, continue to marry the same person in a different form. One of my friends and colleagues is on her 5th marriage, and I love her dearly, and they've all been different men, and she has the same issues with all of them. What is she not paying attention to? What is hers to learn in that effort? Excuse me. So the second piece is, let us recognize that our bodies are in communication with our minds, whether we are conscious of it or not. So we know that when we change our thinking, we can change our lives. So when we become aware, right, that we are this giant antenna at God's disposal, we get to choose to pay attention what the messages are that are coming through for us. So for you, maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's getting in water. Maybe it's walking the labyrinth that I can just so beautifully picture on your property here. Whatever it is for you, again, there's no wrong way to do this. And continue to do what feeds your soul. You know, to that point of our bodies are always communicating with us. Maybe you saw the same story I did on the national news this week about this beautiful, amazing athlete, a world-class athlete, part of Team USA, the forgive me for not knowing the right terminology, but part of the event takes place poolside and part of the event takes place in the pool. Is it water ballet or something like that? She's amazing. She's won numerous medals. And in this particular circumstance, she did her piece poolside that was just glorious. She dove into the water to continue doing her ballet. And of course, since it's underwater ballet, they have cameras positioned all over the pool underwater. And at one moment, she just goes limp. and they have the cameras showing her floating to the bottom of the pool. And this is a world-class competition. So all of the lifeguards are just stunned. None of them know what to do. They're just kind of watching this, and do we interrupt the competition, and what do we do, and how do we do this? And this woman's coach dives into the water, and you can literally see her reaching out to save her team member, to save the person that she's coaching. She grabs her and she pulls her up to the top. And everybody in the audience is just watching in suspended animation. Is this real? Is this part of the gig? What's going on here? And then the lifeguards come over and say, oh yeah, maybe we should do something, bless their hearts. And so she's lying on the side of the pool and she's not moving, and they're giving her CPR and they're giving her mouth to mouth. And finally, they see the water come out of her mouth, and they see her choke, and they see her breathe. And the crowd, of course, erupts into a spontaneous standing ovation. And when they're having a conversation with this young woman earlier, and with her coach by her side, they said, what happened? She said, I have trained for this my whole life. I have been underwater. Everything that I knew how to do as a almost professional athlete, I did. And she said, this day, something was slightly different for me. When I was doing my routine, my fingers were numb. So her body was communicating with her. She was getting this message that something was off kilter. And we're always at choice. So she powered through, as perhaps many of us would do at the elite caliber competition and level, knowing that you got to power through it, and no pain, no gain, and all of those other things that perhaps no longer serve us. And so she kept going, and she literally fainted while she was in the water in the middle of her routine. So she fainted. Her coach sees this. It had happened before. So her coach knows what's happening. She'd been underwater for 2 minutes. They pulled her up. They saved her. She went on with the competition. All is well. And what signals is your body sending you? What can you do to listen to what this glorious container is trying to tell you to help you through your human experience? So what else do we know then about listening to the wisdom of our bodies? Well, again, if I believe that the one power, the one presence that created me continues to dwell in me and express as me, why would I not listen to that? Why would I not listen to spirit expressing? Maybe my fingers are numb. Maybe something is a joyful experience. Ooh, let's repeat that. Maybe that involves something to do with chocolate or red wine. Whatever brings you joy, God is in it all, right? So listen to what your body is trying to tell you. I love the story of Myrtle Fillmore, who literally spent 2 years being quiet, to listen to her body, to see what she needed to help Western medicine of the day advance in treating what she felt were her symptoms. She was basically quiet. She was in prayer. She was in meditation for 2 years. And she healed herself. And then our beloved Charles said, maybe she's onto something there. Then he started paying attention, putting the practices to work in his life, and thankfully, they continued their powerful partnership, and the teaching that we know as unity was created. So my friends, what I know to be true is you have that same consciousness. You have that same power to heal yourselves. I'm also reminded of another mystic, of Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science. Ernest was working with a man who had trouble with the drink, as they called it in the day. He was an alcoholic. And so he was sitting with this man doing a one-on-one prayer session that ministers and chaplains and so many people know so well. And he was listening to this man's story, and he was being very present with him. And maybe it was an hour, maybe it was an hour and a half, and Ernest was doing what he could to support this man in his effort to abstain from alcohol. And at the end of his sessions, he always ended them in prayer for the person who was before him or whoever he was working with. And on this particular day, and in this particular circumstance, Ernest Holmes was feeling so powerful and so grounded and so connected to this individual who was entrusting him that his prayer went something like this: God, this is Ernest. Need I say more? How is that for knowing who you are? How is that for knowing your direct connection to the divine? And so, some of us in our logical minds, excuse me, myself included, might go to that place of, well, yes, that's good. I know I'm powerful, and not all of my prayers are answered. God's not always listening to me. My friends, I invite you to consider that God is always listening. Sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is not yet. And sometimes the answer is hell yes, right? And when we're talking about something that I'm calling in, whether for myself, for our family, for our beloved four-legged, whatever that looks like and feels like, there's David time that I would like this right now, please. Come on. I'm powerful. I can manifest. I can pray. I can do this. And there is David time and there's divine right time. And guess who wins? And by continuing to do my practice, by continuing to recognize the beauty and the power that is this physical structure, that is every physical structure, forgive the platitude, but God doesn't create any junk, right? So you are strong and you are extraordinary, and I see the light that you are. And when you're not seeing that for yourself, please lean into this beloved community. Lean into your board members, your musicians, your staff people, Reverend Elizabeth, your chaplains. That is what we are all trained to do. Let us see the light when you're not able to see it for yourselves. So I have shared this story before on occasion. Forgive me if it's redundant for you. We were in a church at a service several years ago, in a large church, and just doing our thing and just attending on Sunday and getting motivated. And after the service, another congregant came up and tapped me on the shoulder. And she said, "Are you David Goldberg?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sorry, help me with your name. I don't know you." And she said, "Oh, well, that's not important. I just wanted you to know I was sitting way in the back and I could see your aura glowing from where I was sitting." And I was like, "Thank you." And her point was, she said, "I almost had to come up to you and invite you to turn your light down." Now, bless all of our friends in spiritual community. And what we know to be true, my friends, is don't dim your light for anybody. While this beloved is also a perfect expression of the divine, if I had the opportunity to have a conversation with her again, I would say, "Thank you so much. That's not a gift that I have in this life. I'm not, I can't read auras. I can feel energy. I can't read auras." And I would invite you to consider to increasing your light rather than asking me to dim mine. So as you go forth on this glorious day, from the beautiful inspiration that has been provided from this amazing community, I want you to know that whatever you are celebrating, however you are celebrating, perhaps you're not celebrating. I see you. I value your light. I'm so grateful to be in community and on this path with you. And I want you to hear yet again that you are that perfect child in whom God is well pleased. Please join me in prayer. How good it is to be in community. How good it is to be face to face, heart to heart, knowing that time and space are human constructs. We bless those in the room, we bless those online. Indeed, we bless everyone on the planet because our light is shining. It is powerful, it is good, it is bold, it is courageous, it is divinely appointed and divinely inspired. And what I know to be true is that each being within the sound of my voice is on this planet for a reason, doing what is theirs to do with the perfect physical expression that is their body. So I bless us all, releasing any of the not enoughs or too muches back to the nothingness from which they came, knowing that each being is whole, is perfect, is complete, is extraordinary, and is divinely appointed and divinely inspired in this time, in this place, right here and right now. So as we go forth in this day, then, what I know to be true is that we continue to live what we know. We continue to make that longest journey between our heads and our hearts, that 18 inches of connection that is all spirit, that is all God, that is all the Christ consciousness in each and every one of us. And I know that in this week and beyond, that every action, reaction, transaction, and interaction is God speaking to God. It can be no other way, as we are a monotheistic theology. We believe in the one power, the one presence, in me, as me, through me, expressing with every sentient being on the planet. So I give thanks. I give thanks for these glorious bodies. I release any of the negativity that we may have thought about our own or someone else's body or human experience. All are good, all are perfect, all are God expressing. So I find myself in a place of tremendous gratitude and deep thanks as I release. I release this word into the universe, knowing that it was done, that it was granted, that it was seen, that it was brought into physical manifestation before it was even thought or spoken. And I say thank you, Spirit. All is well. God is magnificent. And we anchor this together by saying, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Amen.
I take notes with my phone. I'm not texting, just so you know. And it's easier than trying to find a piece of paper. And that one of your opening remarks this morning was something like, I'm paraphrasing, everything is energy until we label it. So let's label ourselves as good. Don't have to go so far as perfect. We can work up to that. Although for me, I work with a lot of people and I will say that's perfect and everybody rolls their eyes and I have to give them my definition. Perfect is resonant to me. It's not flawless, it's resonant. When the hair stands up on the back of your arms and things like that and you get the goosebumps. So let's feel our energy and label it as good. I am whole, I am perfect and complete. You are whole, you are perfect and complete. We are whole, we are perfect and complete. For we are children of God. I am born of eternal life and love. You are born of eternal life and love. We are born of eternal life and love. For we are children of God. first verse again. We are whole. I am whole. I am perfect. I am complete. I am whole. I am perfect and complete. You are whole. You are perfect and complete. We are whole. We are perfect and complete. For we are children of God. Let's live into that.
Wow. What a great, great talk, Reverend David. It just, uh, yes, it all ties into that song that you sang before, Connie, about when we all will eventually become stars. And my feeling is that if we learn to unconditionally love ourselves and be truly who we are, we do become stars. And I love the way everything just has kind of flown together today. It's just beautiful. That wasn't in the script, but anyway.
Sing it.
Sing it. I'd like to say to members of our community, thank you so much for your generosity, which helps us pay our bills and grow our church as we recover from the long COVID shutdown. For those of you attending in person, you may drop your gifts in the offering box in the back of the sanctuary. And there are also envelopes and credit card donation forms in the back of the seat for your use. For those joining us via Zoom, remember that you can make an online gift at unityrockies.org. Kayla, would you mind putting the affirmation for abundance on the screen? Okay. Oh, there we go. Yay, James. All right. Let's begin. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. We have several announcements. As part of our 100th anniversary, the Sacred Women's Circle is sponsoring a cookbook fundraiser, and we need to get our recipes in by July 1st to Penny Olson. Contact information is in the Thursday e-blast, or you can call Kayla for assistance. So if you have some wonderful recipes that all of us would love to sample, bring them to the cookbook. Reverend Elizabeth Longo is teaching a class for 5 Tuesdays based on the book, The Eye of the Storm, and it's extraordinary, by Gary Simmons. We had our first class last Tuesday. However, we are extending registration through this Tuesday. And if you decide to register and you haven't been you weren't there last week, Reverend Elizabeth is going to start the session at half an hour early. So it would start at 6, so she can catch all the newcomers up by the time the actual study begins at 6:30. So we are absolutely inviting you. It's a wonderful, wonderful journey. I can tell already that we're going to be taking together. Next week, we will have Reverend David Alt will be our speaker, and he will be speaking through Zoom. For over 30 years, David has been a prophetic voice in the human potential movement as an unwavering crusader for mindfulness, global literacy, and local justice. An award-winning author, leadership coach, and global education advocate, he loves leading through example and abides by the motto that people would rather see a lesson than hear one. Um, David is an adventurer at heart and regularly takes groups on sacred site journeys, service trips, and continuously marvels at the wisdom gained through cultural immersion. He is the author of the bestseller Where Regret Cannot Find Me and the multi-award winning The Grass is Greener Right Here. With this in mind, I ask the community to join me now to say our affirmation for our new minister. Mark is putting the words, well, we may or may not have James. Sorry, James, you're doing such a great job. I didn't mean to overlook you. So let's take a deep breath and get centered and focused. With gratitude for the past, we align vibrationally to demonstrate and attract the highest level of leadership in accordance with cosmic law for Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. Now, somehow, this is very clever, because somehow when I said I was going to give announcements, did I give any? I don't know that I did. The cookbook deadline, did I do? Well, for goodness sakes. I would like to now introduce Luana Turner, our board president, who is going to do a very special presentation.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
We're happy to welcome Susan Anderson back today with us. Susan did a tremendous amount when she was the president of the board. She was instrumental in helping our spiritual center begin doing our in-person services again, in addition to Zoom. Because of Susan, we're meeting together again in person and can once again connect with our friends. We're able to enjoy hearing and seeing our speakers and our musicians in person. Thank you, Susan, for everything you did. And we have a gift. We have a gift to present to Susan. This represents our appreciation for her and says, Susan, in appreciation for your amazing service to Unity Spiritual Center. If you would, please stand. We're going to give Susan the Unity blessing. Susan, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you.
And now, do we have a prayer chaplain coming up, Marlene? Who is it? Rhett's coming back? Here comes Rhett to pray us out.
All right, back again. I want to thank everyone for their participation in the service today. David, it was great having you with us. In light of all the great things said today, one of the things I just want to repeat, and one of the first things that stuck with me when I first came to Unity, and that I love, David reminded me of it this morning, and that spiritual beings, we are spiritual beings living a human experience. And that's just one of the deepest things that really touched my heart coming to Unity. There's just so much more to spirituality than what I think a lot of people realize. And with everyone having such challenging times in their lives, I wanted to close with everyone repeating an affirmation with me, and it really kind of goes along with Connie's song. So I'll just go ahead and say it, and you can repeat after me. So when problems, and this is just basically when problems overcome you throughout the week, you're having a hard time finding peace, just know and repeat this to yourself. Everything is working out for my highest good.
Is working out for my highest good.
Out of this situation, only good will come.
Out of this situation, only good will come.
I am safe, loved, and cared for.
I am safe, loved, and cared for.
And Lord, I just pray that everyone in this community knows that they are safe, loved, and cared for through the Great Spirit and through everyone else in the community. Lord, I want to thank you for bringing us together today. I invite everyone to say out loud or just think in their heads the people that need prayers in your life and that you want to pray for. And Lord, I just pray that you take these prayers and these concerns and take them off our shoulders, our hearts, and our minds, and we release them to you and the universe, and know that all is well, and you will answer the prayers given, and say amen and thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, Rhett. That was beautiful. Again, it's wonderful having a male prayer chaplain up here. I don't, do we have very many? Just a couple, maybe? Mostly it has been a woman's position. So thank you for having that masculine energy up here.
Thank you, Connie. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's a different kind of presence, and it's nice when we have both, you know? All right, everyone. Our time is ending here today. So, Reverend David, are you going to be around to come up and talk to the people on
Yes.
Zoom, and anyone in the room who wants to stay and participate? Just come up close, come up front. And if I believe there is coffee and goodies, I know I brought some cookies. If Kayla and James didn't eat them all, there's still some cookies there. So you can go back to the fellowship hall for that. And we're going to, Rhett has one question, or?
I'll be available in the back if people want personal prayer.
Okay, Rhett is going to do personal prayer in the building here. And online, you know that you can always call the prayer chaplain line and request prayer that way when you are not local to here. So I'm going to invite everyone to stand, and on Zoom, I want you to feel yourself standing in this circle with us. We're going to make a big circle around the room. If you're comfortable holding hands, do so. If not, feel free to leave your hand by your side. Either is fine. We want to respect that. And if you'd rather sit, do what makes you comfortable is what we're all about here. And see yourselves on Zoom in this room with us as we all sing together. Let's see if I can find my music. Here we go. Let the light within you shine. We are all connected. Look into another's eyes. See your light reflected. We are one light, shining souls in harmony. We are one light, shining in unity. And as we say goodbye, may your week be blessed, and enjoy this beautiful Colorado rain. So again, if you want to stay in the Zoom room, I'm going to give Reverend David my seat so he can sit here and chat with you. And the rest of you, if you want to talk too, just sit up in the front.